I'm swearing up a storm, but I swear it's good. The Ultra Rosa, I think it's new. The new stuff's always the best, right? What's up, guys? This is James from King's Ride Shop, and we are going to explain how to not break your chain tool today. And I'm going to use the Odyssey one. I'm going to use the Colt one, which is new. I would show you the Shadow Conspiracy one as well, but they're out of stock, so you're not going to see that one. But it does function similar to the Colt one, so that'll give you an idea. The first thing that you want to do is when you get the Odyssey one, I just took this right out of the package right here, you need to back off the handle, and you can back off this little nut pincher thing, and inside here there's going to be this little silver cylinder. Of course it doesn't want to come out. There it is. This silver cylinder is only something that you use if you are taking apart the Odyssey keychain model. If you're not using that particular chain, you don't need this. You just set it to the side. I'm not a fan of the Odyssey keychain. If you like it, cool. But the chain breaker just has the regular pin. This chain breaker also has this little rubber thing in the handle, and if you take it off, it has a spare pin inside the handle. In case you destroy the pin, you can replace it with that pin, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, I got 3 different chains here. I'm going to show you that it works on these chains. These chain measurements are 1/2 by 1/8, so they work on single speed bikes. If you have a multi-speed bike or like a racing bike with a 3/32 chain or something narrower, these chain tools do not work with those chains. So you have to get a chain tool that's appropriate for the chain that you're trying to take apart. This is the 1/2 by 1/8 510 Colt chain. You're going to want to set the chain on this back plate as far back as you can. It has these 2 nubs in the front. Why? I don't know. If you put the chain on these nubs and you push on it, it'll break those off, and it'll probably break off the ones that you need behind it to help guide the chain. They shouldn't put those on there, but they're there, whatever. Anyway, so you take the little nut thing and you tighten it up to the chain, just finger tight, just like this. What you're doing is you're just holding the chain still and everything lined up, so that when you start to turn this handle, it pushes the pin directly through without any type of extra play. So you turn it and it's pushing the pin out, and it'll stop. And if you want to put the chain back together, you don't want to push the pin all the way out. You only want to push it towards this last plate. So then you can back this off. Then you back this off, and you can see the pin's still in there for the chain. I like to take it all the way out just because it's easier to deal with. And you can pull the chain out of here, and then you can bow the chain and it comes apart. Now, since the pin's not all the way into this plate, it's easy to put back together because you can flex the male end into the female end and it kind of snaps together. So you can take it apart by flexing it apart, or you can put it back together. See if you can do this so you can see it, by flexing it back together. And then you know you can push the pin back through and reconnect the chain like so. You put the chain back in there, you got to back off the pin, and then you got to put this back in. And you, like I said, it says tighten. You do not have to tighten it with a wrench. You just have to finger tighten it. Make sure everything's lined up well and it's in there all the way. And of course you're on these back 2, you're not on the front 2. The front 2, I don't know why they're there. You don't need them. It just helps you guide. Anyway, you just finger tighten it, everything's ready to go. And you just push the pin back in. It should push in relatively smoothly without too much effort. And when you see it where it looks like the other pins around it, you know that it's in far enough. About right there. You back this off, you unscrew this, boom. If it's tight, You just got to flex the chain side to side and then it'll loosen back up and you're ready to go. And that's the 510 chain with the Odyssey tool. Let's step it up. This is the Odyssey, they wish, I'm just kidding. This is the Shadow Conspiracy Supreme chain. So this is a pretty heavy duty chain. Shadow recommends to only use their breakers, but we like to live life on the edge here. So we're gonna use the Odyssey breaker. Same deal, you wanna set the chain in that back part, push it down in there all the way, tighten this up so it holds it, and then you can start spinning this, and then slowly apply pressure. Let's see if the Odyssey chain tool can handle it. Whew, I don't know. Can it handle it? A little further, probably about there. You back this off, you loosen this. Like I said, I like to take it all the way out just because it gives you a little more room, easier to take the chain out. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a pain to take out. Let's see. Oh, well, it definitely came apart. There we go. Oh, it's not quite. Is it gonna come apart? There we go. So there's the Shadow chain. Obviously the Odyssey tool handled it no problem. I could have pushed this a little bit further. That's just my fault for not turning the handle one more time, but worked just fine. Shadow gives you a removable, I shouldn't say it's removable, but it's a replacement pin. But if you're gentle, you can put these back together with the pin, and it seems to work okay in my experience. Doesn't mean I'm telling you to do it, but maybe I've done it and it's worked okay. The same deal to put it back in. You lay it in there. This pin's a little longer, so you kind of have to tuck it down in the tool. You put the bolt back in to help guide everything. You make sure everything's lined up straight. You pinch it down. Seems good about right there. Let's see if we can do this. Like I said, if the tool starts to get hard to turn, you need to chill out. Something's not lined up. But it feels pretty good. And voila. Look at that. It's like magic. There it is. Works perfectly. Like I said, if it's a little tight, just kind of side to side, but it feels good right out of the gate. So there's the Shadow one. This is the Colt half link. It's probably going to be easier to take apart than the Shadow, but we'll bust it out real quick. Same routine. Let's get that in there. Cool. Just finger tight. Turn it. You just want to be easy, because if you start turning it hard, if things aren't lined up, the pin will bend or break. And they work really well if you use the tool properly. If you don't use the tool properly, that's when you run into problems. You back that off, you take this out, you set it to the side. There it is, it's apart. Okay. They're apart, you can put them back together. Boom, you can hear it click, so you know it's kind of lined up. So you put it in, you push it down, make sure it's all the way down, and then you thread this in. Oops. These chains are a little greasy, okay, little butterfingers going on, it's all right. So you thread it up to it to pinch it in there and hold it. About there, I'd say. Make sure this is all down and good. And then just take it easy. Like I said, I'm not breaking my hand trying to get this back in. Just nice and smooth. Gets a little bit more pressure at the end as it goes through the last couple plates. And about there, back it off. Boom. It's a little tight, so I'm gonna just flex it one way, flex it the other way, kind of make it settle. Yeah, and it's perfect. Looks like the Odyssey 1299 chain breaker works on all these chains, no problem. No damage to it, Everything works perfect. Everything's still straight. It should hold up no problem. So when you buy this chain breaker, if it breaks, it's probably your fault for just not using it right. I sell a lot of these, and I do get people telling me that they just fell apart spontaneously and caught fire and it was insane. But realistically, you just gotta pay attention to how you use it, and they work perfect. Next up is the Colt chain tool. It's new. I haven't used this one before, so it should be interesting. But anyway, the Colt one has this cool little cap in the bottom you unscrew, and inside the cap is two things. One, you have a replaceable pin in case you destroy your pin. You got backup. It sits in this part. And then you got this silver piece, which is a guide, and I'll show you how that works right now. This is the pin, the guide pin. Okay, so we'll put the little cap back on so we don't lose anything. So you want to back off the handle. This handle's a little shorter than the Odyssey handle, so maybe not as much leverage, but it still should be okay. It's new, for sure. Okay, so this is the 510 chain. They only got one guide, so you can't put it on the wrong spot, so I like that. You set it on there. Again, this only works with 1/2 by 1/8 single speed chains. This one doesn't have a little nut that you got to push up against the chain. The chain pushes back against the back side of the base here. So it kind of holds it stable. So you just want to make sure it's in there all the way. I like to put my thumb on top of it to hold it in place. I put the pin of the chain tool right up against the pin of the chain, and then I just check it to make sure that it's hitting it in the center and it's not hitting it off to one side. And once I think it's good, that's when I start to turn it, and it pushes the pin out. Seems like it's working okay so far. Hands are a little slippery. These chains got some grease on them from the bag, you know? So once we think the pin's pushed out far enough, we can back off the tool. All right, about there. Boom, chain comes apart, looks good. We can pop it back together. I might have pushed the pin a little far out, but I think we can manage. Gotta back this up, and this is what we're gonna do here. We're gonna set this like this, and then we're gonna use this little guide. Goes in the back side, goes into the chain. You push it as far in as you can, and it lines the chain up. So you know everything's lined up before you start pushing this pin back in. And then you start pushing the pin back in, and you kind of just let this backside guide just slide out as you push the pin in. I'm left-handed, so if this seems backwards to you, well, hopefully you can still figure it out. Right about there, take the guide out, back it off. There it is. It feels perfect, so I don't even need to flex it out. So the 510 chain handled it no problem. All right, we'll step it up to the Shadow one. Pick a different link than the prior. Slide it on there. You just screw the pin. This handle's getting a lot easier to turn as we use it. So you know it's straight, it looks lined up, everything's good. This is hitting against the back side right here, so it's all perfect. I'm gonna hold my thumb on it, and I'm just gonna start turning this. I'll try to not hold it so you can see what's going on here. Although it feels weird to not hold it. All right. Obviously you want to push the pin into that last plate. Say about there. Hopefully that's good. You back this off. Okay. Go a little further. Pull this up. Oh, came apart. So there's the shadow chain. Like I said, this is the Shadow Supreme chain. We'll put it back together. The half link chains are a little easier to put back together because you can just set it on there and slide the other plate over the top. We put it back on. I hope we're gonna have to tuck in the pin here. That's okay. Get it off. They're greasy, dude. It's hard to hold on to. You slide it back in there. You take the guide. You slide the guide back through the side. If you can't get it in the hole, you know how that goes. Let's see if I can get it to line up here. There we go. There we go. See, it lines up. So the guide's in there all the way. And then you can start. I like to just start nice and easy so you know everything's lined up. I like to hold my thumb on the guide, not hard, just to keep it there. And then you can see the guide moving back, keeping everything lined up as the pin goes back through. My hands are so slippery. And that's it. Take the guide out. Take the chain off. It's ready to go again. It's all smooth. And that's the shadow chain. I'm pretty sure it'll work on the Colt half link. I'll bust it out real quick here. Line it up. So this is pretty much showing you anytime someone tells you one of these tools sucks, they're actually just telling you that they suck at using the tool. Because the tool, I mean, you can see it right here firsthand, seems to work just right, perfectly, every single time on different chains, including the ones that are supposedly harder to take apart and put back together. There's that. Somebody's coming. Oh, hey, what's up? So you put it back together, put the guide in. This one I kind of pushed the pin out a little far, but it's okay. Everything's lined up. Start slowly putting it back together. Cops are here. Just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
What's up? Put it back together. Just like that. Perfect. Back it off. There we go. So that's the Colt tool. It obviously works on any one of these chains, no problem, no hiccups. These are super good quality tools that you can buy. The Colt one's $19.99. You just know that if you buy it, it does last for a long time, and then you just have to use it proper for it to last. And it's cool they send you an extra pin, because if you bend the pin, you can replace it, but the pins do wear out over time. They get a little shorter, and it's nice to freshen it up and get the longer pin new back on there. But yeah, that's it. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
I think it's pretty straightforward.
I'm sure once you cut it up, it won't seem so long. Felt like 3 chains might have been a little excessive, but just in case somebody's trying to be like, oh, it doesn't work on this chain. This is just the widest chain you can get with the widest pin. So that's why I was like, I'll do that chain because it's like the biggest, gnarliest one.